Hi, it's me, Daphne. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm gonna be going through all the books I read in June. So in June, I read a total of 9 books, 3 of which were novellas and 5 of which I physically owned, which is, pat myself on the back, kudos to me. So the first book I finished in June was The Fighter's Prize by Jessica Cain. Jessica Cain is a steamy novella writer I always go back to. I love to find like other steamy novella writers that I really jive with. I like Jessica Cain's like to the point didness of her writing style, although she has like the daddy kink that I'm not obsessed with, but like I can get over because I've kind of read a lot of them now from her and I don't mind. So this book is about Whitney, who is a young woman who has a shady father. She lives with her sister. They're like both young women, you know, they're adults, but like they're fairly young. Her sister, who's actually older than her, is trying to go through like maybe medical school or like just school in general, but they're running out of money and she needs money. And also, she's been promised to this MMA fighter guy from her dad. Like, I don't know, like her dad's like in gambling debt or something, and he promises this MMA fighter that he can have Whitney as his bride to like get out of like debt with this fighter guy. The logic isn't logicking. So she approaches the opponent of the guy she's promised to try to like seduce him into like being extra motivated to win the match so that she doesn't have to like marry him. There's like a contingency where the guy has to win in order to like get Whitney as his bride. Again, the logic, I don't know. But anyway, she tries to seduce the opponent, whose name is Maxim, and he immediately falls into lust/love with her. It's their story. He's very controlling, but she's like kind of into it. She thinks he's really hot, and that's pretty much all you need to know. Honestly, my explanation was way too long. I ended up giving it 3 stars. It did the job. It wasn't like my favorite Jessica Cain. And then I tried to read the second book. I don't remember what it was called, in that MMA fighter. So it was like her sister, and I didn't like it at all. I read maybe a few pages and I was like, I'm not vibing with it. So I DNF'd it. Then I read Beautyland for my family book club. This one I was really excited about because another YouTuber that I really enjoy, who I've been on some live shows with, Allie, really liked this and made me super excited about it, but it just wasn't super for me. This is about pretty much this alien woman. She's like kind of like an alien, but she was like born from a human woman, from like a human father. It's interesting in the sense of like how the story is created, but I just didn't find it that entertaining. It's very slice of life. It's like this little girl who like soon realizes that she's from another planet, is like trying to journal what it is to be a human, but like I know what it is to be a human. I didn't find like anything like super interesting that came out of this, like nothing like new to reflect on of like the human existence. I didn't find that at all. So it was a bit boring, which I'm disappointed about. And then I don't know if the book club really liked it either, because one, I don't run the family book club. I don't want to have to run it. I have enough going on in my own life. My family member brought it up to me. She's like, hey, we want to start a book club. Could you help us? And I'm like, of course, I will help you. But I don't want to run it. So when the day of the meeting was coming up, like it was the day of the meeting, I didn't text the group to be like, hey, are we still good to meet? I want somebody else to lead. I don't want us to be responsible for that. So nobody did, and it just kind of like fizzled out, which is kind of a bummer because the family book club was cute. And it was nice to catch up with some of my second cousins, third cousins, my mom's cousins. I ended up giving this 3 stars as well. Wasn't obsessed with it like I had hoped. Then I was back on my Jessica Cain bullshit. I think sometimes like when I'm in between books, if I'm just like laying in bed and I just need something like fast pace, she's my go-to. So I picked up Stalker My Protector. This is like kind of another series, but it's not numbered, where the guys in it are stalker-esque. This one was fun. I really enjoyed it. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I'll probably continue reading out of that little like collection from her. So this is between Scout, who is a freshman in college, and her brother's best friend, Cash, who's obsessed with her. He is a baseball player at the college. He's older than her, and like he just falls into lust/love with her like upon seeing her. but he tries to like keep his distance from her because he knows that if he approaches her or tries anything with her, like it's like jumping over the cliff, you know what I mean? Like there's no going back for him. You know, he's just like so obsessed with her. Plus also, she's his best friend's little sister. However, he has these stalker tendencies anyway, even though he's like trying to stay away from her, and he's sending her like these creepy notes saying like, don't go on dates with other guys, otherwise I'm gonna be super pissed, and like all this stuff. And she has no idea who it's coming from. Her brother, who usually like protects her, is going out of town, so he goes to his best friend Cash and he's like, hey, can you look out for my little sister? She has this stalker and I need to make sure that she's safe while I'm away and I can't take care of her. And of course Cash is like, sure, I will totally take care of her. And as soon as the brother leaves scout at Cash's house, Cash is like, you're mine. And he goes kind of bananas. And it was really fun and really steamy. I'd recommend it if you're looking for just like a silly, steamy, ridiculous, obsessed hero. And she's really into it. She doesn't realize he's a stalker, but like she finds him attractive. She's always thought he was attractive. She thought he never would look at her and all this stuff. So yeah, it was really fun and unhinged. Okay, we're not emulating healthy relationships in these books, but they're fun. Okay, I'll do these next 3 back to back to back, even though I didn't necessarily finish them all in a row. I have the Part of Your World series. I'm not gonna say a trilogy because I don't know if she's gonna do like other ones in the series. This is by Abby Jimenez, and I read all 3 of them in June. I have a vlog dedicated to this series where I binged this series, which was really fun to do. I think it's cool to get that level of experience with an author and really get to know their writing style and like your expectations of them and stuff. I don't know, I thought it was cool. It's one of those like interconnected series where you don't necessarily need to read them in order, but like you'll see side characters as main characters in the different books. So I read Part of Your World and I gave it 3.5. This is about an older woman who is a doctor and a younger man. He's young, I mean, she's probably like 35 to 33 years old, like in that kind of range. He's like 27, I think. He lives out in like a really small town, runs an Airbnb. She's a doctor in a big city. They just have like a chance encounter and it's them trying to figure out if they can be together because their worlds are so different. Then I have Yours Truly. This is the best friend of the woman in the first book. Her name was Bree and our hero's name was Jacob, and Jacob is the sweetest. I ended up giving this 4.5, but honestly, the more I think about it, I'm like, I should just give it 5 stars. What am I doing? I mean, is it the steamiest thing? No. Would I have liked it to be steamier? Of course, but just like remembering how sweet this couple was together, I really enjoyed so much, and it will definitely be like in the top tier books that I read in the year so far, probably at the end of the year also. So context of this book, Bree is a doctor in the ER and Jacob is new to the hospital. He also works on the ER and they have a little bit of a bad start to their working relationship. Jacob is a little socially awkward and he kind of stepped on Bree's toes a couple of times by accident. Bree's a little hot-headed, she's going through a separation. It's them like becoming friends and a fake dating relationship and them just being so caring of each other, and Jacob is very anxious and Bree's just so kind and understanding of him and like a very strong woman. Yeah, loved this. Then I finished it off with Just for the Summer. This is about like the best guy friend of Bree's brother, and then just like this other woman who's tied to people in the first book, but I don't want to like give you too much information on that. And their romance, they both think they're cursed in love. Everybody they date ends up breaking up with them, and the next person their ex ends up with becomes like the one. So they're trying to break this curse, which they like met on a forum and they're like, yeah, we should date for the summer and break our curses. And it's their love story. They're both on the younger side. They're like in their 20s, like later 20s. It's between Emma and Justin. A lot of J's. The guy in the first book's name was Jay also, I think. Oh no, his name was Daniel. Okay, take it back. So it's Justin and Jacob. And then I think somebody like in this book or in the second book was like, J named guys are sus. And I'm like, the hero's names start with J. I could have made that up, but I'm pretty sure that happened in this book. But anyway, Justin just came into custody of his younger siblings. He has a brother and a sister who are teenagers, and he has like a very young sister who's probably like 4 to 7, I don't quite remember, because there's drama with his mom that you'll discover in the book, and it's just like a lot of responsibility for a young man who's single to like take on. He's falling in love with this girl, and it's like, am I too much baggage? I think the story was really interesting. Emma's a very closed off woman as well because of her past and how she was raised and all that stuff, but I just didn't personally feel like that much of a romantic spark while experiencing their story, so I ended up giving it 3.5. And then the last Jessica Kane I read for June was A Baby for the Boss. I ended up giving this 3 stars. This is part of the collection More Than Innocent. Man, Jessica Kane writes a lot of books, to be fair, which is nice. It's nice to have a big backlist. So this story is between Missy and Turk. Missy is a young woman. She's probably like 20 or 19 or 21. I don't know. She's like very young, but she's super smart. Like she was like valedictorian. She graduated college early. She took over her family business, which was like, I think it was like a Halloween store type company, but she evolved it to be like costumes for other types of parties because she's really smart. So she's like business savvy and all this stuff. Her office is in the factory distribution center type thing, and she overlooks like the guys working with the packages, and she sees this sexy big hulking man and his name is Turk, and she's instantly attracted to him. She feels like she doesn't have good connections with people because she's so smart, and people are like, oh, you're so smart and I don't want to be friends with you, you're too smart, and you're blah 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 blah. So she has like no friends. And she feels like she won't be able to have a romantic relationship because nobody likes her, allegedly, even though she's gorgeous, of course. So she just wants a baby. She wants to have a baby because she feels like the baby will love her no matter what, which is a little like, yeah, but like, is it the kind of relationship you want to build with your child to put that much kind of pressure on the child? Like, I don't like that kind of logic, but I can understand if somebody's really lonely. But anyway, she sees him and she's like, oh my God, he would be perfect to be my baby daddy. Just because she's attracted to him. The logic in these books, I'm not saying is great. She approaches him and she's like, would you give me a baby? Like, would you sleep with me one time so I could get pregnant? And he's like, oh my God, this woman is so gorgeous. I want her to be my wife, and she's my whole entire life now. I'm obsessed with her. Because that's how the men are in these Jessica Kane books. And I eat it up because it's fast-paced and it's fun. The one thing that really bothered me about this book is that this girl, Missy, is supposed to be so smart, but Turk goes to her and realizes she's a virgin, because they're always virgins in Jessica Kane books for the most part. I don't think I've ever come across one that wasn't a virgin. Even the guys sometimes are virgins, which is refreshing. Turk says to Missy, like, oh, I want to have more than one night with you. And she's like, no, 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 I just want one night to get pregnant. And he's like, actually, it takes more than one night, you know. I don't even remember. I think it was like, you have to like kiss or something. I don't know. He was like manipulating her in ways that had nothing to do with sex. He was trying to like hold off on the sex part so he could spend more time with her, which is kind of cute, but like he lied to her about like the logistics of how becoming pregnant works. Like she had no idea. Like she literally had no idea how babies were made. And he just lied to her in the most like stupid way that made no sense. It was like he was talking to like a child, you know, like lying. Like, oh, you know, you have to like kiss 3 times before like a woman's body is ready to have a baby. And she's like, oh, okay, is that how that works? Okay, let's do that. You're supposed to be so smart and you fall for that? Like, I don't understand. I hate that. I hate that for everybody. I hate that for existing. So I gave this 3 stars. It was a silly, fun time. I like when a hero is obsessed with the heroine, but I hate how dumb Jessica Kane makes the women sometimes. Why is she gotta be that dumb? She's supposed to be so smart, and she doesn't know where babies come from? Did she not take a biology class? Sorry, rant done. Then I read on my Kindle The Honey Witch. I read this for Becky's book club called The Black Hat Book Coven. It's very witchy. Kristen was there, a book circus was there, and First Lady Reads was there, and we had a great time chatting it up on the live show and everything. I ended up giving this book a generous 4 stars. On reflection, I'd probably give it 3 stars. I had my friend Monica, who I know in real life. She lives in my building. I talk about her all the time because she's one of my closest friends these days. I'm really grateful for her friendship and everything. I'm actually seeing her today to hang out. We're gonna go like thrifting or something and then grab dinner. But anyway, I recommended this book to her when I found out I had to read it. I was like, hey, I'm reading this for a book club. You want a buddy read it with me too? And she's like, of course. She loves witchy things. She loves cozy things. And she gave this 2 stars. She's like, this was the silliest thing ever. And I can't lie. So this is a bit of a romance. I think it's this author's debut. So this woman is learning about her witchy powers with her grandmother. She's like the honey witch, and the opposite of a honey witch is an ash witch. And they've had like this battle between themselves, even though they should be working in harmony. And the honey witch line was cursed to never be able to fall in love. And it's like a sapphic romance, But like the whole curse of like, oh, you can fall in love was like kind of interesting because the side effects of like this other character falling in love with our main character was like kind of interesting. But also it was so cheesy. It was very cheesy. But I cried. I did cry reading this book when the grandmother died, which we know she's dying. Like that's not a surprise. I'm sorry if it feels shocking, but like it's kind of said early on. The way that was written was very beautiful and made me emotional. I cried. I also think that the imagery of the book was very beautiful. Like I could really see like this beautiful island and the lake and the magic and the magical glowing creatures and all that stuff. I thought it was beautiful, but the romance and the love curse was silly. It was silly. And then the last book I read in June was Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. This was the first Lucy Score book I ever purchased. I own 3 of her books now, and I've read all 3. Again, pat myself on the back. Good for me. June was a very successful month. This is a long contemporary romance about a woman. Her name is Naomi. She has a twin. Don't remember her twin's name. I think it was like something with a T. I don't know. Tina. Oh, wow, I remembered something. That's shocking. So Naomi gets a message from Tina basically saying, can you come meet me in this small town? I need your help. So Naomi comes. Tina's gone. She's stolen Naomi's car. And to Naomi's great surprise, she's left with her niece. And Naomi had no idea that she had a niece. I don't know why I screamed that. Who she didn't even know existed. Her niece is like 10, and she has to like kind of fight for custody for this little girl because her sister is such a loser. And it's also her romance with this big shot guy in this small town named Knox. And I really enjoyed this. I thought it was really sweet. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I liked the relationship building. There's good banter in there. I really liked the little girl. I liked knowing everybody in the town, the brothers, the people that work at the bar that Naomi ends up working at to make some money while she's trying to figure out her life. She also ran away from a wedding, so she's got like a dramatic backstory. The only thing that I didn't personally super connect with on this book is the ages of the characters. Like Naomi's like 35 or older. I don't know. She's like late 30s, and Knox is like early 40s. So yeah, I didn't really relate to them on that aspect, and I don't feel like continuing the series right now. Maybe I'll continue it when I get closer to those ages, because it'll be nice to have that representation when I'm in that bracket of life. Because all the other characters are going to be like late 30s to early 40s as well. So if that's something you're looking for like sweet romances of people falling in love that don't like have their own kids or don't have too much baggage, I guess, like they're not previously married, things like that, this might be the way to go. Because honestly, you could have aged them down to be early 20s, late 20s, early 30s, you know, whatever. It's not noticeable at all that they're older, except until the very, very end. So yeah, I felt them relatable for the most part, and then I was like, wait a second, how old are they? You know, not a big deal, but also if that's something you're looking for, the series has older romantic couples. All right, that's all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to leave this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you haven't already. I would greatly appreciate it, and obviously it helps out my channel. And I will catch you in another video. Bye.